You're right.
She can go last then. I'm fine.
Oh my gosh. Listen, I'm not going to be catty. So whatever you guys want to do, whoever wants the highlight of the being the last one is fine.
You can.
Oh, look at that.
All right. Let's rock and roll. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to We Could Be Wrong, but Who Cares? With your host, Anderson.
Christopher Harris.
Sean.
And not Mike, but Sun Tzu.
Welcome back, everyone. Yet again, we have a small crew. We're getting some positive feedbacks on the small crew. If everyone feels like they could hear people talk. I find it unique, sort of in the middle of it, but we're going to continue to roll with a small crew. And as you could tell, it seems to be switching out every week. We're missing Mike. Mike is off for the week. And when Mike comes back to explain why he's not on today, he'll let you guys know next week. As for now, I want to give a moment of silence for one of our first listeners who's passed away. And I just want to thank this listener's family. And I want to thank them for continuously listening. And our logo for today's show would be a memory of this person, and you'll see. So let's give this person just a minute of silence starting now. I know everyone that seems super awkward, but that's how it is when we lose one of our listeners. All of our listeners, I appreciate you. We're grateful for you. Thank you guys for being interested in what we have to say. I hope we represent you guys and sort of where you're at whatever stage of life you're at. All right, let's rock and roll, guys. Let's begin. So today's topic is QAnon, which is a very interesting movement. And I really wanted to get into it because I was talking about the movement because this is way before, because now it's hot. Like CBS is talking about it, ABC is talking about it, CNN's talking about it, everybody's talking about it. But I've been talking about it since like 3 months ago. And other people have been talking about it too since before then. Let's not make a big deal about it. But like, it's been something that I've really narrowed in on. And I brought up to one of our panelists who will be here later on. And one of our panelists felt like I was talking very negative about them. And I had to be very honest. I was like, you know what? I really don't know that much. So I took the time to learn about them. And they seem pretty intense. I know Sun Tzu actually had a friend that participated in it, and your friend decided to take a step away from it. Is that correct?
Yeah, just because it's a lot of work. It's definitely, you have to be invested in keeping up with everything that they're involved with. So that was the explanation that was given to me. But like you said, it is very intense.
Did he or she, because I don't know if it's a male or female, did he or she, did he feel, does he identify as a male, or is he biologically a male?
Biologically, he's a guy. Okay. He's a dude.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure, not in this time of age, people, respect them.
Why does it take a lot of time or take away a lot of time from that individual that he had to step away? I wonder why.
So, well, because just in general, to be a part of that, like, you have to be really invested in keeping up with everything. Apparently, the way that it's explained to me is that the information that is sent out to people that are part of the queue, it's kind of like coded. So they have to like kind of crack the code. It's an interesting, the way that was explained to me is really interesting. And the reason behind that is they don't want just anyone to have access to their communication and the things that they're sharing with each other. So just cracking that whole code, or what I don't know, those little tips or whatever that they give out, that takes time and it takes effort. And with us having all jobs and things like that, like I know I don't have time doing that. It's enough trying to research.
But why would
on
they?
the web.
But why would they do that if they're trying to spread out information? That's the reason why I'm kind of confused.
They don't want it. They don't want everyone to have access. They only want people who are involved and are for it and support it. So, I mean, that to me makes sense, right? Because you don't want just anyone taking all that information and misconstruing, or, you know what I mean? And twisting things. So it's kind of more of a protection. And that's just what I understand of it. I could be wrong, but who cares?
Booyah.
I always thought there was a
Oh,
higher.
no laughter. Jeez.
Well, I was
laughing.
going to laugh, but
It was inside.
yeah.
Go ahead.
I said I always thought there was a group that was the higher echelon, because I've watched a few specials on QAnon now, and I guess it depends on what side they're based off of. But I always thought that there was Q, and then there's a group below him that's responsible for cracking his code, interpreting it, and passing it on to the other members of the, I don't know what to call it, of the Q, of the Anons. They're the Anons.
Members, or just call them members.
Well, they're the Anons. There's Q and there's the Anons.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
We're also referred to as bakers. And it seemed like to me that almost anyone could be a part of it, because they're all about spreading the real truth, And
Right.
that's where they got this whole like conspiracy theory from, because these people do come up with some wild ideas. And one of the things that I know you don't know, so I'm talking to you like as if you know, but like one of the questions I have is, do you think their rise happened because of the bad name that mainstream media has gotten
Yes.
of our president?
Yes. Listen, nothing becomes big unless the media makes it big, point blank. Like we don't know about anything unless they make it a big deal, unless they make it either bad, good, whatever. So that's all the media. Like I literally had no idea. You and I, Chris, had a conversation earlier today to where, and I believe I had the same with John, is we didn't even know what QAnon was until they asked President Trump, to denounce them. And that's when I was like, who the heck is QAnon? Like, why are they so adamant about President Trump denouncing QAnon? I had no idea what it was. And then after that is when the whole Pizzagate came out, and you start hearing about the child trafficking and all these other things.
Since way before that. But the thing
No,
is,
of course, but they made it big then.
I'm gonna call BS on John saying he didn't even know what it was, and you too, because you're a major person that went to a lot of Trump rallies, and
but that has nothing to do with QAnon. You can't tie those two together.
They are tied together.
No, they're not. Absolutely not.
Absolutely,
no, absolutely not.
They are.
I did not take any time to look into that when the whole Wayfair thing came out, because I shop Wayfair, actually, furnished a lot of my home with furniture from there. I was shocked. But when something sounds too outlandish, too like it just does not interest me, because if it's just too out there, I don't want to like even go down that road. So I didn't. So no, it's not tied together.
But it is tied together. Matter of fact, a lot of the here we go.
Okay. John's here.
Oh, okay.
So
yes, John.
Oh yeah. This will shed light on the subject.
Well, let me just say, Chris, you really have a misconception of the knowledge that he and I have, because I've had an honest conversation with him, and we both are literally like, no, I have not even had time to even look into it. It has not even been an interest of mine. And I say that I speak for many people who support Trump, because I think it's wrong for you to say that it is tied together and that everyone somehow knows about it or is involved with it. That's absolutely wrong.
Well,
That's
let's
not.
find out
It's been at the
what
rallies for years. They've been there for years.
Oh, were
But
you
is
at
it-
the rallies, Sean? Were you at the rallies? Is
Oh
that
no, I
how you
guess
know, or
no,
just
the
from
fake
word of
news is
mouth?
showing them with the rallies again.
Q
But
posted.
but is it safe to say that if you are part of QAnon, that you are a Trump supporter, most likely a Trump supporter?
No, I
Yes.
don't think so. Why is that? Tell me why,
Okay,
Sean.
You know what QAnon is?
Go
I
go
know
ahead.
the majority, from what I know of how it started, is about child trafficking and how
That's
it's
about-
tied into the government,
It's
the
a
higher echelons
so
of
their
government.
definition from QAnon themselves is it's a cabal of Satanistic worshiping, cannibalistic, sex trafficking that Trump is fighting against. And that's
Okay.
why QAnon likes them, because Trump's fighting against those Satanistic, cannibalistic, child molesting sex traffickers that are around the world.
Are you saying that he was tied to it before his presidency,
Oh,
or
I don't know. I'm
it
just
just so
telling you what
happened
he's saying.
when he became president?
2017 is when Q and the connection to Trump became very heated, not heated as in negative, but really started bubbling and working together. It was
How do you guys know that he was working together with them? Has he talked about them? Is there proof of that?
no,
Like, I just feel like you guys
I'm
are just
telling you-
perpetuating stuff you've heard through
well, I
the
mean,
left media.
That's what Q
well,
said.
Where
is
does
anything
that say
that's
that?
not Fox, Newsmax, and OAN considered leftist media? I
Well,
mean,
first of all,
that-
we've already discussed that one of those is Newsmax is new, so it wasn't even around when he first was
okay,
president.
but I'm
And
just saying,
OAN
if there's
is
any
one.
news that's not considered leftist that doesn't have anything to do with those other three medias, because I'm
I
getting
haven't
something
seen
from-
anything.
I mean, would you call PT leftist media? Would you call, I don't know, any international source leftist if it comes from, I don't know, a Middle Eastern country, maybe, or maybe a Asian country, like that's not, China, right?
Well,
Like,
I'm talking about just the mainstream media that millions of Americans are exposed to, that pops up on their TV or on their, the webpage, which are all of the typical ABCs, NBC, CBS, CNN. CNN is in every airport, at every place you can think of, and you see how they report on Trump and the Republican Party. So that alone is saying that they're able to spread their poison the way that they want to twist it worldwide. That alone, it tells you what's spreading around the world about President Trump. So I don't think that that's even an argument.
okay. So any news agency that said anything negative about President Trump can't be trusted, correct?
No, I'm saying any media source that continues to bash him rather than be more balanced and actually speak about some of the accomplishments and good things that he's done. I don't see that kind of balance at all. And so I consider anyone who's just out to get him, which is most of the mainstream media, and report negatively on him, is what I consider leftist.
Okay, understood. So how about you, John? Do you feel that QAnon and Trump seem to go hand in hand, or you think it's two separate things completely?
I think it's two separate things. I think there's probably some overlap. If they're against child abuse and he's against child abuse, then I would say there's overlap there. I would say there's overlap with me on that case too. Something with child exploitation is I know we've discussed this once before, but that's a thing that's really close to my heart. So if that's something they're against, I'm on their website right now, just taking a look at it. But if that's something they're against, then there's overlap there with me. So I never want any kid to suffer or be abused, especially, some of the evils that we see in the world right now. Excuse me.
But is it safe to say that we don't hear that in the rallies? Well, I know I don't hear it when you have a Trump rally, or they don't speak of the child, trafficking issues at the Trump rallies. I mean, if QAnon's about that, because
No,
like I said,
that was
go
a
ahead.
big thing, especially right when he set up that joint task force. That was a big thing that he was out and about. Some of his earlier speeches were about that also in regards to it. Now that was also in his, I don't know what you call it, whatever the final speech he gave before he left the White House.
Uh-huh.
It was in that one too. Now I would say it's not, probably to your point, it wasn't one of the most popular things that he was saying. When I say popular, I mean, one of the most repeated things, because most of the repeated stuff was, lower taxes, more political domestic issues as opposed to that. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
So there's no tie-in to Trump and QAnon. That's what you guys are saying.
Not that I've
Overlap,
seen.
right?
And I will say that he has worked with a guy named Tim Ballard, one that I mentioned to you, Chris, who he has dedicated his life to finding people and cracking down on this child, human trafficking and exploitation ring. So he works closely with Tony Robbins. I don't know if you guys have ever looked into that, but he's done some amazing work. And I know that he works closely with Trump to do that. And that's when I actually became exposed to how deep and how big child trafficking is. And the fact that the United States of America, we are the top consumer of child pornography. It's really disgusting.
That's actually one thing positive I want to bring out of what you said was I had no idea that Tony Robbins was like such a big advocate for child safety. But as I started getting into that, like my, just a little bit personal here, but my wife and I have taken some of the classes that you can take in regards to how to spot trafficked people, what to do, how to approach them, who to call, like what authorities, what you should say, and things like that. Because there's the Department of Health and Human Services has things like that now that weren't available, 3, 4, 5 years ago. That there just wasn't that. But you can go. There's organizations that volunteer and will hold like similar to like a town hall meeting where they'll invite people in and they'll say, look, these are the type of things that happen. This is this. And they don't go like into gory detail. Like they don't show videos or anything because people would be going crazy. I'd burn the building down before I let them show, children getting abused or things like that. But there's a lot of stuff like that. But there's people that I know that have been affected by that. There's people that I know that were unfortunately victims of that. And that's why it's such a
So then
thing.
why do we feel, I mean, because obviously right now, a majority of the media sources are really starting to give QAnon, followers a bad rap. I mean, it's something that I'm seeing when I'm watching, a lot of these different news stations. Why do you think that is? Because I think everyone publicly wise is against, sex trafficking and child molestation. I mean, I wouldn't be friends with someone who's okay with that at all. So what do you think is going on?
I know. I think it's a simple answer. It's because it's tied to Trump. So anything, even though he stands for something that is positive and that most people would be against, if he is tied to it in any way, they're gonna spin it in a negative way. I'm not defending QAnon and what their whole like movement or whatever you want to call it, but if it is something that is good, which obviously standing up for child trafficking is definitely a positive, thing to do. They're always going to spin it,
but
in a negative way.
They're going to allow more children to be molested and sex trafficked just to bash on Trump. Don't you think that's a bit insane? I mean, that's a really
no, not really. I think that
Trump.
Putting people out of work and out of businesses over COVID right now, looking at the numbers that the CDC is reporting, they were willing to do that. I don't think that the government nothing is past them. I think they will do whatever it takes to make their
COVID's
point.
been taking people since last year, right? So
I understand that, but
office during that time, and I don't think Trump wanted to let all those people die. So your comment about an administration that's been in for less than 14 days, I feel doesn't really work in this example.
No, it has nothing to do with the Biden administration. I'm saying that the whole COVID pandemic, the way that it's been exaggerated and
It's kind of hard not to say it's been exaggerated though.
Well, but let me tell you
Go
why.
ahead.
I'm not saying that it's not taking people's lives. Like I'm not disregarding that at all. But what I'm saying is they're exaggerating the way that it's being contacted and transferred over to people. You know, like our children are suffering right now, and yet the numbers prove that they are the least in harm's way when it comes to COVID. But yet we have, you know, children, you know, committing suicide and all these other things and having these social, you know, issues because they're not able to socialize normally like children should. Like we're dealing with these issues that it's going to be permanent damage, and over what? The fact that they politicized COVID and they're using it as a weapon.
Just a question. Can kids transmit COVID?
They're saying the likelihood of it is very, very low, and that the cases that have happened is so minuscule that it's no reason to shut down schools.
Well, no, I think they actually said that if they maintain social distancing and wear masks and have smaller groups, that it's safer to go back to school. They never said kids together didn't transmit it. You know, the only point I have is 4%.
No, I think you're wrong on that, but I'm driving, so I don't have my stuff with me. But no, I think you're wrong on that.
Okay, you can think that. That's fine. 4% of the world's population and 25% of the world's deaths. We're doing something wrong.
Exactly. And do you know what the 4% consists of?
The world population. The U.S. makes up 4% of the world's population. The U.S.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
330 million people are only 4% of the total world. There's been a million deaths, and there's been what, 2 million deaths? I can't remember, but they say we're about between 20 and 25% of those deaths are right here in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So we're doing something wrong.
Right. But what I'm saying is the 25% consists majorly of the elderly, of people over 65 years old, a lot of people in these nursing homes and all these other things. So if you look at what those numbers consist of, it does not merit closing down schools, putting kids in these situations.
Well,
it doesn't.
They're realizing that now, but we didn't know this in the beginning. You know, you don't pop up with a disease and everyone goes, we know everything about it. You know, disease takes time to figure out the transfer rate. And now with the new what do they call it? Crap. My medical term just went debunked. With the new variants of it, they don't even know what that's going to do. They've already shown higher contagion rate from the South African and what's the other one? The European one, that they're higher contagion, you know, when they mutate.
Also, we're not the only country that's closing down.
God,
England,
no.
you know, England shut down as well. But the thing is that, you know,
it's a highly liberal country, but okay.
England is not a highly liberal country.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Buddy.
Like, how can you say that?
You would call Prime Minister Johnson highly liberal.
They control the media. They don't allow freedom of speech out there at all. And I've followed and talked to people from England that have confirmed that, and they actually speak on that quite openly. Katie Hopkins is one of them.
You can't say that. Just only a few people in England probably believe that. Just like a few people believe that Trump actually won the election, right?
Well, it's not about belief; it's about proof, right? Because if there's proof that they are, you know, censoring and not allowing, you know, the media to report on things, that's not about feelings. That's about just absolute proof. So
I'm still stuck on the fact that you guys feel like England's a super liberal country.
Absolutely.
Well, you know, let's move on from that, because who gives a shit about England? But I mean, let's look at
slightly more liberal than America is. As far as like the media goes, I think they're farther.
I'm not talking about the media. I'm talking about the fact that they shut down their country, right? Because they're seeing many of people dying, but we're kind of rearing off, I actually wanted to focus on QAnon because I'm noticing they're just getting a bad rap all the way around. I mean, you could literally YouTube them, and then you'll have like ABC, CBS, CNN, BBC, and these people talking about how people have lost family members to the conspiracy theories that they come up with.
There's
Sean, do you have
documentaries on it too.
What conspiracy theories? Because I went to their
Yeah.
website while you guys were talking.
What's the website, John? Because I've been
And
looking
honestly-
for it. So give me the website.
Well, I think it's their website.
What's
It
the
just-
address?
TheQAnons.com. Like actually spelled out TheQAN. Sorry, QANONS. The QAnons. If that's not the website, then I'm not sure what it is. Because
I
that's
thought
the
Sean.
when I tried to
Sean
look
said
for
he
him,
researched it.
that's where it came
I
up.
did.
On.
There's been tons of documentaries on it from both sides.
So, I mean, I like to go into the conspiracy theories. I know Sean said something about the cannibalism thing.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, man. I've seen, and I don't know if this is like too far down the rabbit hole, but I have seen one of the spirit bakes that's tied into that, and that is some freaky deaky bad stuff.
What you said? Spirit? What?
Yeah, what
Spirit
is
bake.
that?
What is that? I don't even know what that is.
A spirit bake is where this is like a all right.
Take your
This
time.
it's like this thing is so weird that like I'm like my heart actually starts to speed up
hold
gotcha.
on real quick, John.
thinking about it because this is plus
John,
I'm
wait,
drinking like
please
some
wait.
caffeine
Please
stuff,
wait
but this is
one
it's like a
second.
weird deal.
Hold on real quick. So
Yeah.
before I started, I was saying, QAnon and Donald Trump, they're linked, and they're like, no, it's not. I go on theqanons.com. First thing I see is a portrait of President Trump that says best president ever.
It's
Then
on
I-
their
So
website.
what?
Yeah,
They
there's no
support
doubt.
him,
There's
so
no doubt
what?
they support him. I don't think that's a secret.
Yeah, is
Antifa,
that
and
they have
Antifa probably
linked
supports Biden.
themselves.
I mean, he's
they
come
have
on.
linked them. Antifa has linked themselves to Biden. Are you sure about that?
I said if they had a picture of him, it doesn't mean that he is
It's not
connected
just
to
like
them.
a portrait that says-
You jumping to that conclusion
It's
is
in their
not.
mission statement that Trump they're there because they're supporting Trump, who's fighting this cabal of and that's specifically in their mission statement. Trump
So
is
if somebody
fighting
is a fan of
that cabal.
somebody else, then
Yeah,
that
you
group is
guys-
automatically
It's
tied
not
to them.
a
Like,
person.
Exactly.
if there's a
That's
listener,
the whole movement that's a fan.
Like the BLM, like BLM Inc. That's
Mhm.
actually a corporation. You mean like
does it
them
wait,
being
wait, does
tied
the tie
to?
have to go both ways?
What time?
He doesn't.
No,
really
Chris said they were
announce them.
tied together
Says-
because of the portrait, because they have a picture on there, right? Or did
Well,
I
Because they
misunderstand?
support him.
when I first stated that, because QAnon is humongous supporters of President Trump, they feel like he's the one who's going to save all of us from this sex
Okay.
trafficking and all this other stuff. I'm saying, well, they go hand in hand. Like they really believe. They were also there at the riots on January 6th, correct?
Yeah, and I also think that's one of the reasons why the media bashes him. That the Viking dude was like front and center.
You think he
There's
was
been
the
more
only one
before
from there?
this.
I don't know if he's really even a member, but
Yeah,
he
I
got
don't either.
labeled as the QAnon shaman.
That's
Yeah.
what he named himself. Actually.
I mean,
Yeah.
but if he's front and center there taking pictures with everybody in the rotunda and saying, "Yeah, I did
But
this," and
there's
I'm-
also a guy
That's
who's
a
one
thing.
of the leading QAnon. So, I guess he would be because he says he's part of the echelon. He has this YouTube channel, and he was there, and a majority of other QAnon members were there at the riots. It wasn't just this one guy looking like a complete buffoon in Buffalo running around with a
Chris, it's funny that when I would bring up a BLM leader, you guys right away. Well, how do you know? I mean, I sure like what region? I mean, and then when anything that comes up like this, it's like, oh no, that's the way it is. I mean, that person's part of QAnon because of I don't know what you heard or where it was
The Q
reported,
shirt is
but
the
there's
big
no
giveaway.
critical, huh?
The Q on the shirt's the big giveaway. They show their symbol all the time.
Oh,
Or are we-
again?
Are we
people
trying
can
to
be
decide whether
imposters.
they're good or bad people? or whether it's like a good or a bad group or what.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out if it's a good or a bad group.
Sorry, I jumped on late, so I didn't hear the.
Or if they're
But
tied
yeah,
to Trump. He's saying that they're tied to Trump too,
No.
John. That they
Trump
go
is not
hand in
tied
hand.
to them. I'm not saying Trump's tied
So-
to them. They are tied
That's
to
what Chris. That's what Chris says.
I said that they're tied together. That's absolutely what I said.
Well,
that
I'm
they-
not saying
Yeah,
that.
that's what I'm saying.
I said that they are. And I think Trump uses that group to his advantage. Absolutely, he does. Because when
How?
he questioned about them to him, all he says is, well, all I know is that they like me very much. That's all
You
I
mean
know.
so like
And
when Biden
has
said
that
that
for
Antifa
over
is just
6
an idea?
months. And he seems to not know anything about it.
Well, it's because he never listened to his
Okay.
Only
briefings.
think. I'm sorry, what happened? Because I talked over you. What?
I said that's because he never listened to his briefings because the governments have known about them for a while. QAnon. They haven't been. It's not been a quiet thing.
No, they've actually, we have 2 Congress members that are a part of it.
Yeah.
Congresswoman
Oh,
Green,
Green.
green.
and I'll give you the second one right now because I just, the gentleman, I just,
But the first
Do
thing
you
is
guys know? Do you guys know what it means? Like, what does it mean to be a part of QAnon? Like, I'm interested in knowing that. So if I am reading
why
up
we're
on
having
it
this
and
conversation.
following it, does that mean I'm a QAnon, or is there like a membership type of thing? Like, what does that mean?
well,
You're a
that's
Trump
why we're
supporter, so you're
having
automatically
this-
one.
No,
No.
that's not
Right,
true.
John?
That's not true.
not true. Not all Trump supporters are QAnon, but all QAnon are Trump supporters.
Come on, man. Can't we throw a little bit of levity in there?
That's
We're
the
not
same
used to
thing with
that.
BLM, right?
We're not
Antifa.
used to that. Is that what you said? We're not used to that. But the thing is, I mean, I don't know what it is. But right now, it's looking very bad to me. Sean, did you look up some of their conspiracy theories?
Oh no, just the main one about they fight against cannibalistic, child molesting, pedophile, sex traffickers that are in the government around the world, and Trump's there to help them defeat this group. That
Well,
was
I
the
don't.
main
I
one.
don't see anything wrong with that. I would hope we'd all.
You really
back
think
that
Trump's there
type of
fighting
effort.
child molesters?
But you
I
find
don't
something wrong. But you do find something wrong with Black Lives Matter, right? Or no?
I wonder why Trump wasn't
Well,
fighting against Epstein.
This is the thing. No one has
Guys,
said
I want
how
to
they're
check this
fighting
out.
this at
This is
all.
from Vice
If you
News.
hadn't heard of QAnon before the pro-Trump
Oh
insurrection,
my God.
you definitely have by now.
Biden's not going to do jack shit because Biden's not getting in office.
The internet's fringiest fringe conspiracy that elite liberals are running a satanic pedophile ring has managed to make its way into the center of the national conversation.
I will die for my country and my family and my friends. And they ain't gonna win. There ain't nothing else. They ain't gonna win. You don't want none of this.
I spoke with David Gilbert, who's been tracking QAnon's rise for Vice News for several years.
There's a game aspect to it, and there's a lot of game theory involved in it.
Q, an unknown person who claims to have top secret government security clearance, leaves cryptic posts with code words and mysterious numbers across the internet, and then says, figure it out.
It's kind of like in those movies when you see someone who's trying to solve a crime have loads of different pieces of string drawn together. That's what these guys do. And they just, by doing your own research, by structuring it that way, it ingrains the information on your brain much differently than if you just told something.
Everyone gets to be the hero, decoding all the new Q drops and comparing notes with their new Q friends.
It kind of creates this community effect among believers. And that's why the pandemic was so key, is because people were stuck at home. They couldn't meet people. So they were on Facebook meeting in all these groups of like-minded people. They felt, oh, QAnon is this community, and they all solved the clues together, and they're in on a secret that no one else knows about.
It sort of reminds me of like the Da Vinci Code or National Treasure or these adventure movies where protagonists are able to see beyond, I guess, the like veil of reality to see clues and piece together something that everyone else wants to suppress.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's how it has been structured by whoever is behind it, because they know that people are, people want, I guess, excitement in their lives, for want of a better word. So if they think that they're seeing beyond like what everyone else is seeing, that's exciting. They're in on the secret. They know something someone else doesn't. And it's really addictive. People get absolutely addicted to this stuff, and They spend all their days looking at clues, looking at drops, trying to find links.
Even when Q drops don't pan out, like in 2017 when Hillary Clinton was not arrested, like Q had said, adherents don't care.
Despite all the failed promises over and over again, people still believe in it. It's kind of this constantly morphing thing where they can always twist what happens to appear as if, oh yeah, this is all part of the plan.
So even when President Trump told rioters to go home last week, Q followers felt their research was saying something different.
He just said the new administration. He didn't say the Biden administration. So they took that to mean this is going to be Trump's new administration. And his last line was, this is only the beginning. So they obviously took that to mean that this isn't over yet. The war is still on. Trump will win at the end of the day.
Q hasn't actually posted since early last month, which has created something like a power vacuum in the conspiracy theory ecosystem.
There are personalities in the Q community that people gravitate towards too, as decoders, as gurus, I guess.
Absolutely. There's, at least a dozen major Q personalities who have hundreds of thousands of followers who will follow them, from Twitter to Gab to Parler to Telegram to wherever they go.
Social media sites are finally trying to catch up to this problem. This week, Twitter said it had shut down more than 70,000 accounts affiliated with Q. And the wider public is starting to meet the men behind the curtain. Earlier this week, Vice News reported that one of the most well-known accounts, Neon Revolt, was actually just run by a New Jersey dude who wanted to write movies and never succeeded, but I guess has succeeded in scripting American reality through complete fiction.
The damage has been done effectively. And I think the tech companies have to hold up their hands. They have to say, we haven't done enough. It's kind of, closing the door after the horse has bolted, unfortunately.
Okay.
Before we go on, wait. Before we go on, I literally
Vice News
went to the store.
Might pull down our
Chris.
video because we played so much of their material. That's their material.
Chris.
He doesn't hear
I just
you,
use that for
Anderson.
educational purposes only.
Oh my God.
So now
Chris.
back. Yes.
Chris, I literally got in my car, went to the store, spent $100 worth of groceries, went to get gas, came home, took a shit. Then I realized that I forgot the milk. I went back to the store and came back, and the clip was still on.
Wow,
That's
you're
long.
fast 4 minutes, buddy.
I know. That's really amazing.
That was so.
I'm actually quite impressed with that. I think
know it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Jeez, that was a long clip.
It takes me about 4 minutes to go to the store. Go to the car. But
There was so much wrong with that clip.
is there? Because
I thought you didn't do research on it.
That yeah.
I'm talking about that clip itself. Look at that clip itself. Did they cite one source? No.
Yeah,
Did they
exactly.
show one piece of evidence for their thing other than just photos of rallies? No. There's just all this supposition through there. And plus, Chris, could you not pick a more left-leaning network to pull a video from? Vice.
Yeah, get Veritas.
Oh my God, Vice, who was completely complicit in Spygate.
And
Chris, I thought you
talking
were
about the
moderate,
Patriots?
man. You keep saying you're moderate, but you keep showing that left-leaning.
Chris, I'm not attacking your
Angle on
politics, but could you not pick? Oh my God, Vice. Vice literally
I go
gets
to-
even stories about professional wrestling, which there is 1,000 other media things that they could even pull from. They even get stories about professional wrestling wrong. That's how bad Vice is.
well, who do you guys trust? Like
That's what I'm saying,
trust.
Chris. That's the problem. That's the problem that we should
It
all
doesn't
be
sound like my
angry.
problem. It sounds like your problem. You guys trust
Well,
no.
no,
I don't have a
it's-
problem.
it's
You
your-
have a problem.
It's your problem if you're believing the wrong information. I mean, I would think you wouldn't be happy about that.
If it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it walks like a duck, it's a duck. Everybody's saying the same thing about this group.
So let me ask you this. Like,
Okay, fair.
just like seriously, the only thing I know about QAnon is what we talked about today. And all
I don't believe
Chris
that. I
Chris
don't
does
believe
not
that.
believe God.
Chris, when have I lied to you before?
Don't do that. Don't put me in a corner like that. That's dirty, and don't put me in the corner like that.
I
That's me.
haven't.
But
So
but I
let me
always,
tell you
in
something.
my mind,
It's
when I'm
very
watching
possible
music videos
that
and
you're
stuff like that,
protecting
that's
your.
the thing I'm
It's
looking.
it's very possible you're Q himself, and you're just protecting your cover. It's very possible.
John, Chris literally thinks you have a headdress like that at home and that you actually are like one of the leaders. Like he
He
thinks
does
you're
have
next
costumes
to
at home.
him.
Don't even
What?
go there.
Literally, what would you do? What would you do if I literally pulled out a QAnon shirt out of my drawer right here?
I would believe
Chris was
it.
saying, we knew it. We
I
knew
know.
it.
Yeah, stop.
Man, I should have like went and duct taped one of my T-shirts. Like, look at that picture.
Well,
This
let
is
me
to
ask you
freak
guys,
everybody out.
Okay.
what's the controversy with the QAnon movement when it comes to the child trafficking? Like we all obviously
one
would
thing I
want to
hate
fight
the
against
most,
that.
'cause
So,
I
so
hear
what?
so much.
What is
Go
the
ahead.
controversy? What is the controversy? Why is anyone against that? Why is it so?
I don't think
You know what I mean?
They're not, but you can't pick one part of some group's thing
That's
and
a
say,
big part. That is a
no,
big part.
wait,
of
I
their
thought you didn't do
movement, Sean.
research on it either. How you know that's a big part? All you guys didn't
Because
do
I
research
have
on
looked
it,
into
knowing
some
stuff
of
now.
it, but I haven't. Okay, hello, stop. Okay, I've looked into it maybe once or twice, but again, that's not anything that I've like really spent time on. But that is a big part of their movement.
Their
That is a
big part is
of their
also
movement.
violence.
Can you like
According to
expand on that?
what?
Can you give us some things? Because literally,
Yeah, he's.
I mean, all
making
I've heard is that
statements
Vice article, and then we went to their website, and then that
I
thing
mean,
on
look.
the town hall.
Well, look at the Capitol riots. I mean, is that proof enough that they're about violence?
Oh, come
we're gonna
on!
go to
One
Right.
rally
You
protest
didn't
that
watch the
turned into
videos
that.
showing all the
One.
people with Q? So the mainstream media put Q there like they put Antifa
No,
there.
nobody's denying that, Sean.
Yeah.
Anderson is making a statement as if that's what they're about, is the rioting and the violence. When has that happened previously?
It's
I
just like
don't
Black
know.
Lives Matter. It's not about the rioting and the violence either, but you guys claim it is.
No. I'm talking about actual action. No. Listen, we don't
That
even go
was
into
action.
the whole BLM thing. We don't
Oh,
even go
that
into the
was-
whole
oh,
BLM.
that's not
Go
action?
to the PLL thing.
Because
Oh.
no, we're not, because we can go over every state, every place that happened where there's burning cars and the freaking reporter, this is mostly peaceful protesting and they want us to
It was
completely
Antifa. It was
ignore.
Antifa. They intercepted.
Oh, really?
They
How
intercepted.
do you know that? How do you know that?
Because that's what you guys say about the Capitol riots. They intercepted us.
But it
Am
was
I
all
wrong or am I
peaceful,
right?
So Antifa obviously didn't do anything, right? Because it was mostly peaceful
Oh,
protesting,
I
according
don't
to the
know.
media.
I mean,
That's what the
exactly.
media said. That's what the
Hey,
media
so
said.
we know about January 6th. What else?
So
That's my point. That's my
okay,
point.
well, hold on. If you let someone speak, you'll hear it. 15 June 2018, the guy that blocked the Hoover Dam bridge with the armored car was a known QAnon supporter. He had said he was. He's the one that blocked the bridge and threatened to blow it up.
Let's not talk about the guy who went to that pizza restaurant in DC and shot it up. Was also a part of the QAnon conspiracy. QAnon movement as well.
Was that last year, Chris?
I think it was 2 years ago, to be honest.
So you're talking about individuals. You're talking about individuals, like just like the guy who shot Scalise in the name of Bernie Sanders, because Bernie was pushing the narrative that he was somehow killing people by not allowing the CARES Act or something.
That was the guy who shot up the baseball game, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
So
remember that.
we can go tit for tat. We're
Well,
talking
you're
about
right.
a
And
movement.
that guy was really bad, and Bernie needed to watch what he was saying. It is something serious. These people do have to watch what they're doing. That's why I find it really interesting that some Congress people are not speaking against Congresswoman Green for her liking and supporting them wanting to shoot Nancy Pelosi.
Right. She's made anti-Semite comments during her campaign. You know,
Green
she-
has?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
God, yeah.
Who is Green?
She's the
She's from
Georgia
the
House.
14th district of Georgia Congresswoman.
She's that woman that John, she's the one who proposed the articles of impeachment on Biden.
Yeah, before as soon as the first day he was going to be in office.
that was funny.
So you guys, again, we'll go back to whenever you guys bring up the 6th, what happened on the 6th of January, as if that's a common event that happens when QAnon or Trump supported, which is absolutely false.
I think
No
that's
one said
why we're
it was.
bringing it up. We don't want it to be a very.
But it's not, and you guys are saying that it is. That's my issue. Is you guys make these
I
statements?
don't think so. With all the violence that's happened from the left and the right, this is becoming common, right?
Oh, so you're actually taking responsibility for the left? Because I haven't heard that happen at all on this show. So just wondering.
I'm a bit confused because I could have sworn I just said with all the violence from the left and the right.
And no, that's the first time I've heard you. That's what I'm saying.
Oh God, no, we have
Take
said that
accountability.
before.
Not the
We
first
have
time.
said
Both
We have-
sides are wrong. Is usually what we say.
I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's Democrats. That's usually how this goes.
But is this a good movement? Yes. I mean, everyone should be against, sex trafficking and child trafficking. And I don't believe there's people drinking babies' blood, but I don't know. I don't believe there is.
Dude, I don't know.
Well, there probably is, but it's not for the chemical. You can get the same chemical. It's used in actually blood thinners. That's actually been shown too. So that whole thing is just,
What?
it's crazy. They're making stuff up to make it look worse.
See,
Hey,
that's
so,
what's so crazy. You
Chris,
guys can make
Let
these
me respond
statements.
to
Like,
what
if
you
you guys,
just said.
Okay, go for it.
So, not to just to, you said, there's nobody out there drinking baby's blood.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
U.S. military has actually done joint operations with other countries to go into places where literally babies were being killed, and then parts of them were being sold off. Their blood was being sold off. They were like, I'm not going to go any more detail than that, but yeah, there are places in the world where that happens, man.
absolutely,
Doesn't surprise me.
absolutely.
I'm sorry,
That's
I'm
surprised.
No, no, no.
kind of getting emotional, but
You
there's
have a right to be emotional with that. I mean, but
Ugh.
do you honestly think it's widespread, or are those isolated incidents? I mean, I hope it's not hugely widespread, but I think, does it happen? Of course, everything happens in this world. All sorts of bad stuff
the
happens.
problem is
Sean,
that
Sean,
it doesn't seem to be, it does seem to be a growing issue. There are more and more cases of that kind of thing coming up, and more and more issues like that of trafficking and just horrendous behavior towards children.
That's why we need to let other countries deal with it, because they use a 45 with one shell. We give them rights here. They don't need rights.
Man, I just, my gut reaction to anything like that is exactly the same as yours, Sean. We should have like an automatic death penalty for people that
Put 'em
abuse
down.
kids like that. Like, I just throw out the cruel and unusual punishment clause and just like,
John, I feel you, because you know where I work at, and I read some of these guys' files, and it's just like, what the fuck? Like, you start thinking about that kid, and this angers you. And this guy is just locked up. That's it.
I don't think I've ever been as angry or as riled up as like when I started finding out about some of this. And like I told you guys, I know people that were abused, and I mean, usually I don't think I have a short temper, but good God, like,
Dude, my next door neighbor was a vice cop. I don't know how he did it. I'd ask him, how do you not kill people? And he was a big burly Marine, one of my friends. And I don't know how he did that job, man. I couldn't do it. They'd fall on their knife 16 times and shoot themselves in the back of the head before they got in the car.
Yeah, I don't think we're arguing the fact that child trafficking is
bad.
Not a good. It is a bad thing. I mean, it's it's bad. And I think Chris's point is we're trying to figure out the correlation within the Trump, QAnon, I guess, fans, why they're into Trump so much. If I'm correct, Chris, right or no?
Are we trying to figure out the tie, or are we trying to figure out whether they're good or bad?
Because we all know child trafficking is a good fight. We need to fight that.
Yes.
But when we see them at the rally, I don't want to bring that up again. But of course, I have to bring it up. The Q flags and then the storming into the Capitol is just like, wait a minute, I'm a little confused. Like, I'm trying to understand the correlation between QAnon and I guess you could say the Republican Party, or.
Well, the Republican party's not the Republican Party no more. It's going through some weird. I don't want to call it as like a civil war type of thing, but there's some weird stuff going on. One thing that I could say,
It's becoming more conservative.
I don't know if that's it, but okay,
Yeah.
why not? But the thing is, like, yeah, I'm trying to figure out if this group's good or bad, and I'm also trying to figure out, like, why did they feel if President Trump left office, all this human trafficking would just go through the roof again? You know, why did they put all their eggs in that one basket? Why can't they, I guess, because Sun Tzu was saying at one point that, you know, they didn't just want anyone to be a member. They would put out these weird codes. And I'm like, why are you doing all that? If we're fighting a good cause, why aren't we talking more in the forefront? And who are these people that are this powerful? And how are we not, obviously we're figuring them out. Why aren't we doing more about it? Those are the questions that come into my mind. You know,
remember the research we kind of did too. You know, they don't even know if the one posting now under Q was the original Q.
Yeah.
There's a theory from some of the original bakers that it's no longer the same Q.
Wait. What's a baker?
They're the top level ones that decode. There's a small group of top level Q supporters, the Anons, that actually decode these and pass it out to the other followers. Uh-oh, John got stuck.
Yeah, he just got stuck.
But, you know, so they don't even know if it's the same Q because they changed message boards. You know, they did all this stuff. They were 8chan and then went to 4chan. Yeah. And so they've gone to different message boards.
They're originally 4chan. And then they had gotten in trouble because I think that's when that guy started shooting up that place.
Yeah.
But then from there, they got wiped off of 4chan. Then they went to 8chan.
And then to 4 something else. There was another 4 something server they went to. But so they didn't even know if it's the original guy. They have no clue. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think it's just people want to believe in something.
I think that once you if you start believing in conspiracy theories, whether they're true, whether they're not true, whether you have evidence, whether they're not evidence, it's easier to go further and further down whatever rabbit hole you're on. So if you can look and you can say, hey, you know, and this is, nobody on the panel take this as a dig against you or anything like that. But let's say, you know, let's say, oh, you know, Hillary Clinton should be locked up. Right. And then somebody else says, no, she shouldn't. And then you believe that she should, but she never does. Then why wasn't she? Is there a cabal? Is there something protecting her? Is there so on and so on? If you put that as a stepping stone towards other things, or you say, oh, you know, Trump should be locked up and then he wasn't. Okay, well, why wasn't he? Is there a cabal protecting him? Is that the only explanation you can come up with? Okay, if that's her stepping stone, then, you know, it's easier for you to go down there because you can, what is it called? When you find proof, when you go out to look for proof to support what you believe, but you black everything else out, bias confirmation.
Oh, I thought it was Republican.
No, confirmation bias.
I'm only kidding.
No, Republican good, Democrat bad.
Yeah.
Confirmation bias. When you're completely blind to everything, and the only thing you'll follow is the trail, no matter how bad it is, to whatever you believe. So if you have somebody that's like, I mean, when you and I were going over those conspiracy theories, and I was telling you about that deal with like the Nazis live in Antarctica and they have the greenhouse down there, and they have the alien spaceships that can go from the North Pole to the South Pole, and they have the dinosaurs that live in the center of the earth. Like there are people that believe that. Like,
and that's the fear that I have about QAnon is that's the fear that they're not doing something good. They're just
following.
Yeah, following. And let me tell you, if someone from that movement talked like you, I wouldn't have the fear that I have of them. But all I see of them is outrageous, extreme people.
Well, if you keep watching Vice, then yeah.
It's not just Vice, though. I chose Vice. I chose Vice because I knew Sun Tzu would have something to say about NBC, CBS. You know, Al Jazeera. I didn't even want to bring them up. Like, I just
let's not do Al Jazeera.
Yeah, but Yeah, but I mean that's my point. I didn't know who to bring up because she would find something leftist about anything that doesn't say. I get. See now I'm being unfair. I'm not being fair. But the thing is that that was my fear.
It's
Fox News is now defending QAnon. Actually,
of course.
I sent you this in a text, but I'm going to say it here in public.
Okay.
You ain't shit.
What's that?
Nothing. It was a joke, John, but it wasn't towards you. It was towards Chris.
I couldn't even hear the joke, so
no, I just said, never mind. You listen to the replay. Go ahead.
Like my first reaction when somebody says QAnon is, man, they must be good because the media just attacks them all the time. Like that's my initial gut reaction because, I'm so sick of like just the craziness. Like I talked to you guys, these guys called Trump supporters Nazis for 4 years. And then my anger, like about that, not as bad as some other things, but like you just get sick of that. And then you just distrust everything. Right. So like if the godless soulless media is, saying these guys are bad, then they must automatically be good. Even without knowing anything about them. Like that's my first gut reaction.
That sounds.
That's wrong, right?
Hold on.
I'm just telling you that was my first gut reaction without doing any research.
No, John.
And the super weird thing about them bringing that up in the town hall. Like what the hell was that?
Okay, so John, that sounds super reasonable. I'm not judging it if it's right or wrong. It does sound reasonable.
It's okay to judge me. It's fine.
No, that's not what I'm doing.
I always tell you I'm the biggest dirtbag. But
anyways,
I am the most right dirtbag you'll ever meet.
The thing that I have a problem with is that everybody feels sad for President Trump. He brought this upon himself. He went attacking news anchors personally. He went out there talking just as bad, and then they defended themselves like he claims he defends himself. But then everyone wants to feel, he's like, they came after me and attacked poor old me. I do not feel sad for President Trump. I don't feel sad for him. I don't. I think he brought it on upon himself. So for you to be like, look at what the soulless media does. Of course they're going to do that. The dude did nothing but attack them and then lied about their company.
Wait. Okay. Who, if we want to go back to who started this, I will tell you two things. Number one, has Trump called anybody in the media Hitler?
No, he told them they were stupid, though.
Yeah, retarded.
Which is worse? You're an egomaniacal, murdering, crazy person who is directly responsible for millions and millions and millions of murders, or a stupid person?
Did they say he was Hitler or acted like Hitler?
No. Chris, I sent you that clip of them just saying he's Hitler. His meetings are like the Third Reich parties. There's
meetings like the Third Reich party is different.
That What's that?
Meeting like the Third Reich party is different than being called Hitler. The Third Reich party did a lot of big lie theories. They persecuted people for any reason.
No, dude. Take it in context. They were saying his supporters were like brown shirts, that they would just go out. They compared stuff that he did to Kristallnacht, and that started before he was even elected. They were putting that stuff out, and that's the thing, man. If somebody's going to call you Hitler,
the media, let's be real.
Trump glad that he fought back.
Trump
on stuff like
should
that.
thank the media. If it wasn't for the media and 2015, 2016, he wouldn't even had a chance to win. They gave him free press.
Get out of here
it's
with
the truth, and it's the truth.
The media did not elect Donald Trump.
They gave him free press. Especially now when he's off of Facebook and Twitter, you don't hear a peep
They
from
gave him free press by calling him Hitler, and Stalin and Mussolini, and
they were
all that kind of stuff.
In
a bad businessman and a liar.
Yeah, they called him every bad thing in the world. They called him a tax sheet. They called him whatever else. They called him everything under the sun.
He is a tax cheat.
Okay, please explain that accusation there.
When when Joe Schmo that lives down the block from me pays more in taxes than he does, something's not right.
Wait. How much does Joe Schmo make? And how much did Joe Schmo pay in taxes? And how much did Trump pay in taxes?
How long has Trump's taxes been under audit for, man? It's been many years.
It's like a decade.
Yeah.
How many charges has he been? How many charges have been filed against him for tax evasion or tax?
Well, give it a few months now that he doesn't have the
There's
protection of the
smoke, there's
presidency.
fire, right? I mean, let's be fair.
Well, no. If you can't find something to charge somebody with on their taxes after 10 years of investigation,
They didn't have his taxes. He held them. He refused to give them.
the IRS did
Find
not
out
have his
within the
taxes.
next.
Huh?
See, now
The IRS didn't have his taxes. You have to file your taxes with
No,
the
the
IRS.
IRS. He was in charge of the IRS. He told him not to give them to the New York State Attorney General. He told him, "You cannot release my taxes."
Which is true. They have to come with a case. You can't just go.
well,
you can't find
there's going to be a
evidence
case.
to-
He's going to catch a
you have
case.
to have a crime
Don't
and then
worry.
investigate the crime to go get evidence. You can't just say, "Hey, look, Chris, I'm
Yeah.
going to come in your house and I'm
Right.
going to find something to convict you on."
Possible. It's possible.
can't-
No.
You're not supposed to say possible. You're supposed to say, "Yeah, John, you're exactly right," which is the truth.
Wait, so they can't go and do search warrants for suspicion of stuff?
They didn't have a search warrant. That's the problem.
I'm just asking. They
Hey,
can't
hey,
come to my
Don,
house.
But
with a
here's the
suspicion
thing: for a search warrant, you have to have a crime has to been committed.
Or
And you have to have
suspicion
probable
of crime.
cause that this person is related or has the evidence there.
A
You have to go in front of a
suspicion.
court and
Done.
actually get the warrant, present the evidence to the judge.
Don, you know what?
Unless it's the FISA court, because the FISA court's a different
At
deal.
this moment, I'm gonna say you're right. Can you tell me who the president of the United States is?
As of this moment,
Yes.
Kamala Harris.
Oh,
He can't do it. He can't do it. That's what we call stubborn.
I could say,
believe it.
here's the thing: I
Not
could say
believe it.
Barack Obama because he's probably the one designing the policy right now,
Wow.
as opposed
Wow.
to Biden.
You have no proof of that.
Come on, be fair.
You have no proof. You have no proof, John.
I have to make
proof.
logical.
You're the guy that always
make
wants to
logical
prove.
decisions based on evidence, and Joe Biden's not smart enough to do a lot of things.
Oh, bad
But you
word.
have no
I'm about
evidence.
to say
You have no
something
evidence
nice.
of that.
I'm about to say
Go ahead.
something nice about
No.
Obama, like the holy one, Obama.
Oh.
Obama's a hell of a lot smarter than Biden is.
The
That's-
only one.
Probably who's
Who
designing
is the
policy
president?
stuff.
Who
He's
is the
probably
46th
still to this
president of the
day
United
is
States?
the leader of the Democratic Party.
Who is the 46th president of the United States?
It's probably a joint thing between Obama and Harris.
No, come on. You knew this day would come. Come on, buddy.
You knew.
This day would come.
I just told you who the real president was.
Who's
didn't
the
ask
president? Who's the
When you
president?
open up the textbook and it shows that face, what face do you see as president of the United States?
Who wrote the textbook?
He actually still sees Trump's face.
Come on, John. Come on, buddy. I believe
do
in you. Who's the president of the United States of America?
It's either Kamala Harris or
No.
Obama. One of
No,
those two.
who's signing executive orders right now?
That's a different question.
The
Only
president of the
president-
United States.
Joe Biden is just signing anything they put in front of him.
And what
So
do
they-
you
they
call
put
Joe
something in front of
Biden?
him
Joe
that says,
Biden's the what?
National restaurant will be McDonald's. Yeah, I'll sign that. I don't care.
Joe
Signing.
Biden is the what? He's the 46th what?
He's not going to say it, dude.
He is the 46th signatory on all of his executive orders that have come out so far.
And
Who does
who?
executive orders?
Thank you.
Say that again.
Who issues executive orders?
Barack Obama.
No, not that. No, there's a title. There's a title. It's called
Pres-
the president.
President Barack Obama.
Well,
So-
no, because he's not president.
Here on international airwaves, you're going to say President Barack Obama is the 46th president. Is that what you're saying, John? And remember, people listen to you and you're going to give false information like that. Go ahead.
I'm saying right now, the person with the power is probably
No,
Barack
he didn't
Obama.
ask
I
He
did
didn't
ask
say
that
who has the
question.
power.
Who is the 46th president of the United States of America?
Legally or illegally?
Oh,
Legally.
don't do that.
I'm gonna get
So-
us banned from YouTube forever.
Who's the 46th president of the United States of America?
Kamala Harris.
Legally.
Oh,
Kamala Harris or Barack Obama, one of the two.
Are you really not going to do it? You knew this day was going to come. And Noah's forcing you. You said you would say this. You said it.
I never said I would say that.
Pull the clip.
I
You-
will
Pull
pull
the
the
next show.
You said
Pull the clip.
when Joe Biden wins, you're going to have to say that.
Pull the
And I
clip.
said Joe
Find it.
Biden wouldn't win, which is why I'm the most right person, not why I'm right 100% of the time.
Man, my cough is getting bad.
I know. You gotta fix that. You gotta get some of that water like I've been doing.
Wow.
Wow.
Hey, you know what?
What it is? QAnon. See, this is how they
Move
sidetrack you from QAnon.
I didn't catch that. Sorry.
I said, this is how you sidetrack us from QAnon,
Oh, jeez.
who you didn't know anything about.
He knew a lot.
I told
You
you
did.
exactly what I know.
I
it was a-
promise you, he's in it. He's in it. I know he is.
I'm not.
I
But
know.
if the godless, soulless media hates him that much, maybe we should all join up.
Really? Are they really godless?
Wait, does that include Fox and the other ones?
I already
Rob
told you I
Biden?
don't like Fox. I told you that for a while now, and then you got mad.
Well, no,
You're
because
like,
as soon as they
I don't like Fox. Trump turned you against Fox.
that's
And I
right.
started. That's when we went down the whole thing. I was like, I didn't like Fox since Paul Ryan joined
Do
us.
his voice again, John. Do his voice again.
That was just everybody. That was actually a little bit more Dr. Fauci. You gotta wear a mask.
Oh my goodness. Well, you don't like Dr. Fauci either.
Oh my God, no. I liked Fauci in the beginning.
Of course.
Truthfully, I thought Burke was going to be the one that was going to turn out to be the cuckoo bird, but I was way off. That's another thing I was wrong on. So you can point me to two things right there.
Well,
It turned
Burke
out
right
Burke
now
was actually a little bit better, but Fauci kind of went.
is bashing Trump right now. So
He
she's on
was doing that for like the last 3 months of Trump's presidency. So
Wait, the last of his presidency? I mean, someone else president?
yeah, Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris is not president. She's vice president.
Why was Kamala Harris introduced as the next president of the United States like 5 times, including by her own husband?
Who knows? Why was
Who's
Trump?
the vice president then, John?
Why was Trump said to be the smartest man? Knew more than scientists. Who knows?
Who said that?
He did.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
He
He
did.
really did.
Well,
Talking about the
He was
wildfires in
smarter
California.
than the
Get
military
over-
generals, than the scientists.
Scientists don't know. He knows more than the generals. Oh, I know more than the generals.
Okay, here we go. Here
pull
we
the
go.
clip.
John,
Play the tape.
John, I
What?
will do that too. Who's the vice president?
When? Right now?
Yes, right.
Yeah, no,
now.
3 years from now.
Kamala Harris.
So she's the president and vice president.
Yeah, she's the
That's
president
against the
of the Senate
Constitution.
and vice president of the United States. So she can be president and vice president at the same time.
Yeah, president of the Senate. Okay, we'll buy that.
Yeah, she's the only member of the federal government who's allowed to be part of the leadership of two parties. I'm sorry, of two branches. Excuse me.
Two branches. Yep.
And what is President Biden right now? What is he? He's something. What
I
is
don't even know who that is. Who is this?
It's the guy who beat Trump.
Oh, that would be China.
China.
he? You don't believe?
Yeah, they
China.
flew all the fake ballots in, and
Wow.
Okay, like, no, okay.
I love this. I love this.
Okay, so you know what I'm gonna do, because he's playing this game with me.
And
I'm
the
gonna
earth is flat.
I'm gonna splice the tape where he said Joseph Biden
And then president.
and then president and then put it together, and we're gonna open up next show with just 10 minutes. Not even that's too much. 10 seconds of John just saying President.
President Biden. President Biden.
President.
you're gonna lose a lot of listeners because that's gonna be boring.
No, they're gonna
No,
laugh.
it's
I
not.
don't care.
We're gonna enjoy, John. It's gonna be hilarious. We're gonna enjoy it, and a lot of listeners will love it.
Yeah, I think so.
You're gonna have so many people drop out. It's gonna be so boring.
I think we'll keep at least 80 million.
It
Come
was,
on,
it was
John.
actually, if you look at the real count, it was only about 13 and a half people.
What?
Only 13 and a half people voted for Biden.
Yeah. What? 7 million times. Huh? Yeah.
All the rest of the people voted for Trump.
Yeah. I love the one I heard on Facebook. Someone saying the total people that voted, it was more than the registered voters. Like, no, there was 206 million registered voters in the United States. And there was 150 million votes. So how you figure that? They come up with anything just to say that it was fake. You know, it just amazes me. You know, I look back, you guys says I look back when Trump won. I wasn't a fan of Trump. I definitely wasn't a fan of Hillary. I would say lock her up too. But you know what? When Trump came in, I said, dude, let's give him a chance because if he fails, we fail.
Right.
That's the same thing I'm saying about Biden now. Is he my choice? No. But we got to give him a chance because if he fails, we fail. And that's what people need to start looking at. When we fight everything that comes up against us, we're all going to lose. No one wins.
But at the same time, you have to, if somebody runs on a platform that you disagree with, then you can't hope they succeed with a platform that you disagree with.
You got to find.
You have to hope that they change and do something that's different than what you perceive them to be doing, right?
Yeah, but you got to find the parts that they do, because you can't tell me you agree with every single thing Trump did.
No, you forgot. I'm part of the cult of Trump. I haven't been deprogrammed.
No, I'm asking you personally. Do you believe in every single thing Trump did?
No.
Okay, good. But you support him. Yeah. I don't believe in everything Biden does either. But we have to pick the good things and try to hope that our representatives we elect represent us in our feelings and actually do something. It's like you said, we're going to turn to socialists. We're not turning into socialists. They won't let us. The Republicans, the Democrats, will not let that happen.
I really believe that.
See, I would disagree with you on that, because I would say there is part of the Republican Party that would just go along with the flow, that they care more about the benefits of office than standing up for
what's right
or what's right with the country and things like that. I would absolutely say that.
I don't think it'll happen ever.
I think, and the other thing, I mean, you guys, socialism, we have to be talking about the same thing. If you're talking about the form of government called socialism, which is where the government controls the rights of production, the rights of land, all that kind of stuff, then yeah, you have to think that. I mean, we just had almost an entire year of socialism that came down through this whole COVID thing, where the government controlled who could go to work, who couldn't go to work, regardless of what you think about COVID or what you think about the lockdowns or whatever. The government at that time was controlling what was happening with public and private land. The government was controlling who could go to work, who couldn't go to work.
Well, they were attempting to. Obviously, they weren't.
Not 100%, but in enough places where socialism was very, very real by definition, the government controlling the means of production and land. By those two things, that's absolutely what it was.
That's actually that does make sense, and I do hear what you have to say with that.
But you don't think a world pandemic is an outside source?
It is
not only us. Yeah. Every other country, every other massive country in the world was doing the same thing. So the whole world just turned socialist.
Not every country. I would say the vast majority of countries, yes, we're doing lockdowns, and some far more than what we were doing.
Right.
Australia was.
Hey guys, that show, John, you made great sense. That was awesome. We need to get into that when we have Mike back on. So thank you very much. And
executive orders next week then?
We're going to do school choice and teenage suicide next week.
Okay.
Thank you for doing something that I actually don't have to research.
But you didn't research QAnon.
I know. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been joking around so much. I probably would have just screaming the whole time.
John, call us out.
Oh, sorry. Thank you for listening to We Could Be Wrong. I just want to send out one special shout out to Mike. Mike, I hope you're doing well, man. I hope to see you back soon. And man, I'm really sorry that you've had a tragedy in your life. Hope everything turns out better for you. But thanks everybody for listening. Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Later.
Yo.
Later.
Thank you guys.
Thanks.
My heart.
Good
You
show,
broke
good
my
show.
heart. Dude. I was so sure you were going to say President Biden. I was like, John will do it. John will do it.
No.
You have to give me time to heal.
Okay. Hey, whatever you need.
Fair enough. Fair enough. my friend.
Whatever you need. Good night, guys.